thank you for tuning in to this JMM Expert Insights episode. I'm Jane Morgan, and today I am joined by Curran Co Analyst, Doug Smith. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Jane. Thanks for having me.
So, Doug, you recently published an updated research note for Amaero International. Can you give the listeners just a quick overview of the company?
Sure, Jane. So, Amaero International, ASX listed, a small cap company in the materials space, with a project in the USA, so in Tennessee, and it's led by Hank Holland, who's the CEO and executive chairman, and a very, very strong team on the ground. So currently bidding out and installing an advanced manufacturing facility in Tennessee, and that's to produce powders for 3D printing, advanced manufacturing. So yeah, that's Amaero International.
Thanks, Doug. And so can you elaborate on Amaero's strategic positioning within the current geopolitical climate and its alignment with reshoring initiatives in the US, particularly in the aerospace and defense sectors?
Sure, Jane. So I guess over the last few years, we've all seen it, a significant rise in global geopolitical tensions across multiple geographic locations. So I won't go into the details of all of them, but for the United States, and probably really initially prompted by the Ukraine conflict, it very quickly became a national security imperative to reshore critical manufacturing capabilities back to America, as the fragility of global supply chains was really exposed and the realization dawned that some suppliers could not really be depended on. So under this backdrop, the US government moved quite quickly to both incentivize and fund the reshoring of critical material supply chains and advanced manufacturing capabilities. So we saw cornerstone legislation with rare bipartisan support from both parties passed, including the IRA, so the Inflation Reduction Act, the Defense Production Act, Title III, and the Advanced Production Tax Credits, just to name a few. So Amaero, under the sound strategic guidance of the new CEO, Hank Holland, saw the significant opportunity, quickly moved to secure a facility in Tennessee to produce titanium and refractory powders for advanced manufacturing and defense production. As a result, Amaero is really now positioned right in the center of the three key reshoring initiatives, being critical materials production, number one, advanced manufacturing, and defense production as the third. And we certainly think it's one of the very few companies to intersect all three of these key reshoring initiatives. So then zooming in on the decision to locate the facility in Tennessee, as they say, location, location, location. Here we have an exceptional pro-business climate and proximity to Tennessee and Alabama's highly concentrated aerospace and defense cluster of companies. On top of that, you've got the national research laboratories, and just to name a few of the 70 plus companies operating in that area, we have Boeing, we've got Lockheed Martin, we've got Northrop Grumman, and we've got Raytheon. Then we have the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and we've got the University of Tennessee with a very large and highly regarded engineering faculty. So we've got a highly skilled workforce available. Then on top of that, Tennessee also has abundant, cheap, reliable, and clean power. That's supplied by the Tennessee Valley Authority, with baseload nuclear power and a remarkable 29 hydroelectric dams.
Thanks for that, Doug. So Amaero has recently released an announcement on the Fairmont Consulting Group's market study. So how does this study validate Amaero's strategic direction, and what key insights does it provide regarding market positioning, demand forecasts, pricing opportunities for C103 and specialty alloy powders?
Sure, Jane. So yeah, first I'll just touch on who they are first. So Fairmont Consulting Group, they're a leading US-based specialist consultant. They're providing defense, aerospace, and government market insights and strategic direction for companies. So Amaero have planned to focus on refractory and specialty high-temperature alloys used in applications such as rocket engine nozzles. For example, SpaceX rocket engines use C103 for the nozzles, and hypersonic vehicle leading edges. Fairmont has access to a large number of defense and space programs, very importantly, including classified programs. So this places them in an ideal spot to forecast demand, supply, and price for these materials. So Fairmont modeled and analyzed over 550 US programs that are currently underway for satellites, space launch, strategic missiles, and hypersonics. And they supplied Amaero with a 72-page report of the findings. So the Fairmont analysis forecasts the demand for C-103 powder, which Amaero plans to focus on, will increase fourfold from 25 tonnes in fiscal year 25 to 105 tonnes in fiscal year 2028. This reflects a pretty astonishing 62% compounded annual growth rate, or CAGR, as it's commonly referred to. And yeah, the results have certainly validated Amaero's strategic decision to focus on becoming a key supplier of high-quality C-103 powder in response to this huge and rapid growth in demand.
Well, just further to that then, so considering the expected growth in demand for high-temperature materials, can you discuss Amaero's production planning based on Fairmont's estimated demand for C-103 powder and the company's strategy for capturing market share in this additive manufacturing space?
Sure, Jane. So, yep, for the first atomizer, Amaero has allocated production firstly for C-103, and that's really based on two key data points, being one, the Fairmont's estimated demand for C-103, as I just touched on previously, and then secondly, Fairmont's estimated achievable market share for Amaero. So on the back of that, production across Amaero's planned 4 atomizers is shaped by a strategic plan, which is firstly, prioritise the C-103 and the development of the refractory alloys. Secondly, other high-value specialty alloys. And finally, to allocate excess production, which will be for EIGAs 2, 3, and 4, to titanium alloys, which are also in very short supply, considering Russia was previously a key supplier. Then regarding competitors, it's worth mentioning that current producers of powder for additive manufacturing are focused really on large run commodity alloys such as stainless steel and nickel-based alloys. These incumbent producers are large companies such as ATI Materials, where this section of the business is a very small component of their annual revenues. Therefore, they've got long-term commitments to customers for these products they produce, and they're really not easily able to switch over to niche products such as C-103 or specialty refractory alloys, because it would impact their existing contracts too much. And this has resulted in an approximate 2-year lead time for C-103 and subsequently very high prices due to the very low level of supply currently available in the market. And this is where the opportunity lies for Amaero to be the first niche producer with sufficient scale in refractory powders and a defensible position, which is really driven by being the first to market, and by number 2, by using next generation high yielding EIGA technology, which I'll expand on a bit later.
Well, that's actually my next question. So the research note mentions Amaero's first EIGA premium and its significance in enhancing production capabilities. So how does this technology differentiate Amaero from existing producers and contribute to the competitive advantage?
Yeah, sure, Jane. I guess just firstly, I'll briefly cover what an electrode inert gas atomizer is. You don't come across them every day. Essentially, it's a very specialized piece of industrial equipment, and it uses a 1.5 meter long by a roughly 15 centimeter diameter metal rod that's fed into the top and melted by an induction coil into a continuous molten stream, essentially dripping down into the EIGA chamber under gravity. So the molten stream is then blasted by a high speed of inert gas, which is typically argon, and which scatters the melt into very small spherical powder form, which is suitable for use in 3D printing. Importantly to note here, the process will yield some powder which is on spec and some which is off spec. And this is determined mainly by the particle size. So Amaero ordered its first EIGA premium from a company called ALD in Germany. And this was over 2 years ago. The EIGA is now being installed in the Amaero Tennessee facility, literally as we speak. ALD is a large industrial German company, with a global leading position in building this type of equipment for advanced metallurgy and materials manufacturing. So the next generation EIGAs, which I'll point out, the one being installed at the Amaero Tennessee facility, is the first one to be landed in the United States. It uses ALD's proprietary tech to enable yields up to 50% for on-spec powder for 3D printing. This is important as the previous generation EIGAs currently in use by incumbents yield approximately 25% of powder suitable for 3D printing. So furthermore, that the next-gen EIGAs are the only technology suitable for melting high-temperature refractory C103 and specialty alloys, with melting points north of 2300 degrees Celsius. So the step change in yield on the spec powder drives significant improvements in unit economics, and hence a very big competitive advantage for Amaero as they commission the first EIGA.
Thank you, Doug. And just finally, so I see in the latest Curran Co research that the base case valuation results in a 12-month target price of 79 cents per share for Amaero. So the current share price is circa 30 cents. Can you talk us through the methodology and assumptions that you've used to kind of generate this target?
Yeah, sure, Jane. So in our latest model, we've used the Fairmont study really as a guide rail to forecast a very conservative ramp up of C103 and specialty refractory powder production for the first EIGA, as well as a steady ramp up of the market share for C103 AM powder, once again guided by Fairmont. For pricing, we've used a number below the bottom end of Fairmont's forecasted range. That's being US $2,500 a kilo versus Fairmont's US $2,700 a kilo. So we model a ramp up to 4 EIGAs operating in a steady state by fiscal year 2029, and we have first sales only a year from now in Q1 of calendar year 2025, with profitability achieved in fiscal year 2026. Another very important thing is the CapEx requirements of quite low Australian $76 million over the next 3 years. So we're not talking hundreds of millions or even billions here. And the result of all this is our discounted cash flow model and our 79 cents per share 12-month forward target. So Jane, just one last thing I'd like to highlight is the quality of the management and the team. It's one of the things that attracted us to Amaero in the first place. And in our view, the CEO and chairman, Hank Holland's done an exceptional job to refresh the board and secure the services of some of the leading global talent in additive manufacturing and powder metallurgy. So I won't go into detail of who they all are, but I would urge investors, anyone interested, to have a look at the website and the bios of the Amaero team. They are truly impressive. In regards to Hank, he's the founder and managing partner also of Pegasus Growth Capital, a US-based private equity firm, and he's got significant skin in the game as the top shareholder in Amaero, with roughly 39% of the float. So Hank has been instrumental in defining the strategy for Amaero and relocating the project to Tennessee. And in our view, we think attracting talent of this caliber really is a testament to the significant opportunity that sits in front of Amaero. And it really provides us with a high level of confidence that Amaero has the skills required to become a future leader in advanced alloy powder manufacturing.
Well, Doug, thanks again for your time today. We look forward to hearing more from Amaero International and, of course, Curran Co in the near future. But thanks again for your insights.
Thank you, Jane.